This is the August 9th meeting of the Harbor Management Commission's Mooring Committee. Today's meeting is by conference call only. The room that we were assigned became unavailable late, and so we're doing it by conference call only. On this afternoon's call, we have Harbor Master LeClaire, Jack Hirschler, myself, Bill Perugini, Jeff Warren, and has anyone else joined the call?
Jack, this is Kim. I'm here.
Hi, Kim. All right, and I think we expect Jeff Stedman. Maybe he'll join us in just a few minutes.
Great.
We have no flag, so we won't do the pledge for this meeting, but we'll certainly do it at our next. And with that, let me turn the call over to Harbor Master LeClaire for the Harbor Master Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, it's Brian LeClaire, the Harbor Master. Things are going well in the harbor. We have all allotted moorings have been assigned to individuals. As you know, we had, at the last meeting, 2 vacancies. One vessel left the harbor. Another went on to a Pequot dock. Both of them have been filled with appropriate-sized boats, so that is the good news. They've paid, and we've got all their documentation in. All the other boats, except for one right now, are in the harbor, and we're working with that one boat. We've been monitoring our commercial fisherman to make sure he is, in fact, a commercial fisherman, submitting the appropriate documentation. We just received his catch report for June and July yesterday. Well, I've been getting updates from the Pequot Yacht Club staff regarding the North Anchorage. As you know, things are a little bit different there this year. They're maintaining those records. We gave the permits to them, the stickers to them. They're providing all the documentation and a monthly update, or whenever I request, a electronic file with all the vessels and on their moorings in their area. And that's working out great and much more efficient, I believe. I've been out there down to the harbor every day, out on the little whaler 3 to 4 times a week, checking out the moorings and talking to people in general. In addition, I just got the formal inspection report from Pequot over the weekend for their periodic inspection of all the moorings and their recommended changes they'll be making, changing some lines, etc. I've reached out to 2 people who are tied up improperly, in the sense that they're using lines that should be increased in size in one case, and in the second case, using a metal clip, a carabiner type clip's not a real good way to attach to the mooring ball, so we're having that corrected. We still have just a few boats on the wrong moorings. A few people got out of position, but in all the cases, the folks agree with each other that being one off or transposed with another one is not a big deal to any of them, and they'll move it as soon as they get the chance when both boats happen to be out there, so it's not an issue. So that's and I'm working on the docked vessels as well, tracking all of them. The not so perfect news has to do with the online mooring website. I noticed a problem a couple of weeks ago when I went to pull the registration up for a boat to make sure it was in fact the correct boat that I had permitted, that I'd given the paperwork in for, and realized it wasn't there. So I started doing some searches, and I've determined that online mooring, the database is not properly directing me to registrations and insurance in all cases. 10 out of the first 14 that I've audited are missing either the registration, the insurance, or both the registration and the insurance. But the safe boating certificates are all there. And I did a check when I first noticed this 2 weeks ago by looking at my own, just as a reality check, because I know I was the first one I did just after midnight, just to make sure that it would be working properly, and it was. And I had all my documents there. They've been there. Well, not any longer. Now, looking at they were all there 2 weeks ago. As of yesterday, as I dug even deeper going through each individual file, my own insurance is missing from my boat. So I know these documents were there. I've got to work ticket out with Online Mooring to find out, it's a redirection error or it's a database error, and they're working on it to try to figure out what's going on. I'm also getting a weird message in at least one of them telling me that there's a system problem. Contact the administrator and report what you're seeing on this screen. I have another boat where I had the paperwork in. So we're working on that. Hopefully we can get this solved and resolved quickly, and that they have backups if we need to get the data, reinstalled in the system.
Right. So to be clear, it's not the entry data that people typed in. This is just the image files that they attached to their application. Right.
Correct. When I look at them, I can see the dates they received notices. I can see my emails to them, which are saved. I could see the date I approved. And when I went into approve, obviously I opened up each user. I would look at the three documents. I would get an indication from Online Mooring. We get an automatic email to Harbor Master telling me that, Joe Smith submitted his payment and certain documents. I'll then call up his file, look to see what he submitted, and if everything is there, payment along with the registration, insurance, and safe boating, I can compare them with what he's supposed to have for a boat. When everything is in order, then I would click approve, and it would change it to an approved status, put him on the assigned list and off of the pending list. I'd highlight it on my backup sheet, and then everything appeared to be fine until I realized there's a problem a few weeks ago. But it is just with images. Everything else, the data appears to be there, and the database appears to be tracking correctly all the entries we've made on it. So.
And I had talked to, it's not chronological either, why some are affected and others are not. Yeah.
I had gotten my hopes up. Maybe it was just a few weeks in January the glitch was happening, but then I found one in April as well. So that's so much for that theory. And the one that I'm having trouble with is one of the later ones that came in. A riparian owner who came in a little bit later, and now it's by the Green. So he was one of the later entries, and his is also corrupted right now.
So we don't know if this is just a Southport issue or whether this is an issue that affects dozens of harbors that use the Online Mooring system, and they just haven't noticed because they didn't have occasion to be looking for image documents. And I think we may be using more image document requirements than many other harbors require. So we shall see. It's not hard to imagine that they store the image files in a different place than they store the data, and they have some kind of a pointer that points at the image file and might be somehow got broken in some cases, but we'll leave it to computer experts to tell us what happened and how they're going to fix it.
Yeah, and I was telling the committee chairman as well that I'm inquiring as to their backup so we can confirm that they have a robust backup plan, automatic backup, so that they are saving all of our data, including this data.
Tim, I recall when we interviewed them that they told us that they had a backup system in place.
That's my recollection too, Jack. That
right.
And because we were very concerned about that.
Right.
That was I frankly,
Jack?
I mean that was 2 years ago. I don't really remember what they said about whether it was. I thought it was a whole separate place.
Right. I think we had that question.
Right?
Yeah, I've tried to back it up myself, and I couldn't figure out a way to. Just, an extra belt and suspender. If I could find an easy backup, I was going to back up all the data onto my hard drive, but I don't see how I can possibly do that.
Right. So,
Jack,
just to play worst case scenario, they've lost control of the images of people's insurance and registration. That would be a very bad thing. But it's not. Doesn't have financial. It's not our financial records. These are just image files of documents that we're talking about at this point. Everything else seems to be intact and pulling up correctly.
And the good news is we're in the middle of voting season, and everyone is in and was approved. Well, I know they were there, so we know at least these are legitimate votes. And I have a printout showing, the hard copy of the database without the attachments showing who's where. So at least, I've got printouts like that, so I can always have a hard copy to show who's in each location and what the boat's registration number is and who's the owner. So at least we have that. Even if we lost image files, not a disaster.
So I think, are in a holding pattern here to hear back from Online Mooring on this inquiry that went into them today.
Is there any this is Kim, is there any possibility that somebody who has insurance expiring long about now and tries to resubmit the new insurance declarations page won't be able to do it? I mean, is there any impact that this is going to have on our users, I guess is really the question. Or we don't
if
even
anyone
know.
Tries to go in, I doubt anyone's even going to do that, Kim.
Okay.
Even who's been thinking to do something like that to update their information.
Right. Our requirement was to have it last spring, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get an answer quickly. Yeah. Hopefully they'll also fix it very quickly, and then nobody will be the wiser that we had a problem for a few weeks here. So.
Right.
I'm concerned because it appears to be intermittent, and we can't figure out a logical rhyme or reason to which ones are missing and which ones are not.
Right. It's not a date pattern. It's not. It's either one. It's either A is missing, B is missing, or A and B are missing. So it's not even consistent. Mm-hmm.
One thing that's interesting is that the most recent addition to required documents appears not to be missing in any cases that Harbor Master looked at. So the Connecticut boating certificates all seem to be showing up. So those links are finding the documents in every case that you've looked at. It's the original documents that we required that are not showing up intermittently.
Not showing up. Yeah. So do we have any idea, Brian, how long this has been going on?
That's a good question. I first noticed it about 2 weeks ago when I went in to check on one, and I've been poking around the last 2 weeks saying, maybe you're crazy. I was questioning myself. I'm saying there's no way those documents were missing if they got a permit, because I highlighted on a sheet when they got everything, a manual sheet, and then my own boat, when I did the reality check, that it's there, and now it's not there as I go through them over the last 2 weeks. I said, aha, things are still disappearing even over the last 2 weeks, randomly. So
and not at the same time either, Brian. It sounds like they're right. That's concerning.
Well, I would think that Online Mooring would be very concerned. I mean, even if it is only happening to us, I can't imagine that they would be pleased about that.
Right.
And I hope, Brian, you have some sense that they are concerned.
Oh, I'm sure they will be. They're very helpful. They seem very helpful and concerned that we. They tell us that we have one of the more complex systems or configurations, and that we require a lot and get a lot of documents and save things compared with some who use it differently. But that doesn't matter. They still bad for business if they start losing things like this.
This is one other tidbit of information which is of dubious value. Is I have a town mooring in Stonington, Connecticut, also uses Online Mooring. They require only the Connecticut registration document image on their applications. I just checked mine yesterday, and my image shows up when you click on it. So that's a sample size of one and probably worthless. But it is interesting that at least it happened in my case to show up properly on the Stonington one. So TBD, that's not our job to do the analysis of their whole system. They've got dozens of customers or up and down the East Coast or the Northeast Coast, and they'll have to figure this out.
Right. Well, as Brian, or Jack, whoever pointed it out, we're in the middle of the boating season, and we know Brian checked everybody in.
Right.
Okay, so it does provide a window of opportunity for them to get it cleaned up. So let's hope that they come back with some reassuring words before we have to start looking at next year.
Definitely. All right. So, Brian, maybe if you hear anything back, maybe you send an email to everybody on this call on the mooring committee. So the people are not assuming nothing is happening here. Yeah. Or if you'd like me to do it, I can do it. Either way.
I can forward it to you, Jack, and you could forward it as appropriate to the committee.
Okay, sure. I'll do that. Yeah.
Good.
Other than that, we've had great weather for boating.
Absolutely.
Good news. And we did also order. I ordered a new sign that's being made this week for the end of the breakwater with the 6 mile an hour limit. The other one's faded, if anyone noticed. So we have a new one on the way. And the town's going to take care of that, put it up for us.
Good.
They have a sign shop, so they're just going to do
Okay.
Excellent.
Anything else, Brian?
Also, the swimmers, one last thing. Both I've been talking to the Fairfield PD. Both they and I, when we've been out there on patrol, have reminded the young men not to swim in the channel or dive off. And I've seen nothing the last 2 weeks after we last warned them. After Kim, you brought that up on that Sunday. Since then, we've both been out there and we've spoken to the folks. And it seems like that's been resolved for now, at least in the harbor.
Great.
Great.
Any questions for Brian?
Jack, this is Jeff. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining.
Jeff?
Oh, hi. I'll ask in Norwalk, the fellow from the Harbor Commission in Norwalk who oversees the online mooring, if they have the same issue. And not that it will help us resolve ours, but just out of curiosity. But
Okay.
But you may be right that they don't give it the same amount of ongoing attention as you do. And then the other question, Brian, did you say at the last meeting that there were several new applicants for priority mooring locations asserting littoral rights? Have those?
Yeah, we have one that is asserting those rights that has come in since, that has come in, correct.
All right. But I have nothing else to ask.
Okay. All right. If there are no other questions for the Harbor Master on his report, is there any new business for tonight or updates? Out of curiosity, do we know if there's any movement on recruiting a deputy harbor master?
Oh, yes.
This is Bill Ferragini.
Hi.
So I just reviewed the modifications and the adjustments that the harbor master made to the job description, outlining the roles and responsibilities, which I think are fine.
Bill, can you take your phone off of?
Yeah.
Because I can't hear.
Yeah, hold on, I'm on my headset. Let me take that off. This is any better. Is this better?
Much better.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Go ahead, Bill. Did we lose Bill?
Did we lose Bill?
Yes, we lost him.
I didn't understand that first part I missed.
Well, I know, maybe this is what Bill was referring to. I know that the harbor master went through the job description for harbor master and made it appropriate, made the changes to appropriately reflect that we were looking for a deputy harbor master. And I know that Brian has been working on that, and I believe and I was copied on that, but I was not around for most of the day today, so I haven't had a chance to look at it. But I think that's where they are.
Okay, so we haven't started to recruit yet, is what?
I'm unaware of if they have started to do that.
Okay. Right.
No, it's Brian. I sent the changes in last month after the meeting, and I think Bill is going through them, I believe. My proposed changes. That was just to tweak it to a deputy position and to clean it up a little bit, but not a lot.
Right.
So next step after that's finalized would be the recruiting phase, right? We have to advertise and recruit.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I think I came off the call.
Please.
So where did you lose me?
Brian, why don't you just repeat what you just said, and then Bill can jump
in.
in.
I just indicated that I had made some recommended changes in a red line. I sent it to Bill, and I believe Bill is still going through those, and at some point you'll be prepared to go out, with the recruiting, advertising, and then interviewing function or tasks.
Yeah, and I was in the process of sharing that I did review them, and they were spot on. I think they're quite appropriate relative to the, required skill, essential knowledge, and, core experience required of that function. So I think you did a great job, Mr. Harbor Master, and it can certainly be circulated to others on the selection committee. I've also spread the word through my network, but it seems as though if we start an aggressive campaign to seek a large candidate pool, that will best serve us in selecting the appropriate person for that role.
Okay. All right. So,
Bill, do you want to circulate that, or did you want? How did you want?
Yeah, I could do. Who else is on the selection committee? Forgive me.
Jeff Warren. It's the committee is Brian, Bill, and Jeff Warren.
Jeff. Okay. And yep. Jeff, you're on this call?
Yes. Jeff's there.
Yes, I'm on the call.
Okay. I will send to you, Jeff, what Brian forwarded to me, so you'll have the opportunity to review it. And if it looks great, let's move forward and figure out the best medium to begin publicizing the position.
What do we have to do for the First Select Woman's weekly thing? Do we just submit that to her office, Kim? I don't know how
you have to get in touch.
I can reach out to her and Jackie Bertolone, the chief of staff. I could do that.
Yeah, you reach out to Jackie Bertolone, and if you, I would just send her a copy and say, this is what's going on. Can you include it the next time Brenda puts out one of her newsletters? But Jackie is the gal to contact.
Yep.
And then
I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Bill, you may want to.
Yacht Club did? I'm sorry.
Bill?
I think we had Pequot Yacht Club and we had BlackRock Yacht Club also post it, and
yep.
Those are the clubs I think I remember from last time.
Yep.
And Bill, before you have Jackson put it out in Brenda's newsletter, you may want to have it all up on a link, or where someone could click here for more info or to apply, as opposed to just otherwise no one will be able to find it.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. To make you'll have to have a link to the job description, because you won't want the whole job description to be part in Brenda's newsletter. So you'll need a link, and you'll need to work with Betty on getting the link to the HMC website, so that you can say so the notices will say harbor looking for a deputy harbor master. Resumes due by whatever date you guys decide on, for further information about the job and the job description, and then put the link together.
Yeah, that's beyond my level of sophistication. So is Betty the one who could establish the link?
Betty can help you with that. Betty can help you with that.
Okay. Well, I'll need a lot of help to establish a link.
I mean, you can even add, Bill, if someone has questions. I just thought of this. They can just contact me. Give them the Harbor Master number if they want to ask about it.
Okay.
This way, so they can find more info. Just contact me. I can tell them what's involved and help them out.
Yeah, and so essentially they'll be reporting to you, correct, Brian?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll draft something up. Well, I guess we need to be in touch with Betty to get the appropriate link. Is that right, Kim?
Well, I would decide what notice you're going to post. In other words, how much information is going to be in the notice that you post in the yacht clubs and in Brenda's newsletter, and then decide what you want to have on the link. You know what I'm saying?
Good suggestion.
It'll be
I will.
Two different pieces of information.
Sure. I'll draft something. I'll run it by the committee. If it meets their approval, then we could work through Betty to establish the appropriate link.
Yeah, and then Betty can.
Right,
yeah.
and then the link just gets added to the copy at the very end once you've already got
Right,
the rest of it
right,
done.
right. And I think probably the best way to do the best link is simply to the HMC website, and then you can just have that. They'll be on the home page. She can just put in, Deputy Harbor Master search or something that would provide the information.
Yep.
So.
And Kim, do you remember how much time we gave last time for applicants to decide if they wanted to apply? What the deadline was?
My recollection is that we started out by saying about 2 weeks, but then because it got messed, the posting on Brenda's newsletter somehow, and the link somehow got messed up, we extended it for another 2 weeks. So at the end of the day, I guess it was about a total of about a month.
Okay.
But we thought originally that 2 weeks would be enough time.
So do we have a plan?
Yeah, I'll draft something. I'll run it by the selection committee. We'll contact Betty. I think 30 to 60 days would suffice. And once we have the link established, we could have it included on the Brenda's Town Update, or even the town website for that matter.
Great. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Any other topics? All right. Hearing none, I think we can adjourn. Oh, were you going to say something, Jeff?
No. I was just thinking it's early. It's 5 or 6. That's okay.
I'm giving you some extra time off. All right, everyone. Have a good evening.